and welcome to the 86th episode of the Hot Takes podcast. We have a very special episode for you guys today. As you can see, we are not in the studio at the moment. We're actually sitting down in an auditorium next to each other right here. A couple reasons why we went virtual this episode. I'll have Luke explain most of it. He had a wild vacay that he had this past week, but I'll let Luke talk about that right now if you want.
Yeah, just, nice little wild vacation. First off, I'll start off and say I am actually taller than Frank, so anyone that's questioning that on the episode, I'll give him this one time that he is going to be.
Don't let him know. Let me have the hype right now.
He's 6'5" now. He grew almost 10 inches. Crazy progression. But yeah, no, I was in Aruba for about a week, 7 days, nice Sunday to Sunday. Sunday was kind of one of the travel days from hell, and I'll explain that in a second. But my girlfriend got back a couple days later. She's like, I just want to get tested. She was really only feeling like a stuffy nose just from, kind of what most people feel when they go on like a vacation and they're in like 60-degree rooms. Like I purposely go into hotel rooms and turn it down so I can get sick. Like that's how cold I want it in the hotel room. And she got back, and then yesterday she tested positive. So, I'm now kind of quarantined in the apartment, in the house, away from work, away from everybody, just to be safe and proactive. And, doesn't stop the grind. And I think me and Frank tried to figure something out with it, but I was like, I think we were like, hands off. Let's just do it this way. But, so that's why we're there. And then, we were originally going to record on Monday, and this was even prior, and it's almost better that it didn't happen because, thank God no one else was exposed kind of a thing, which is awesome. But the wild thing about it, so I kind of had a flight from hell on Sunday, which I, haven't experienced prior to this, which has been great. Basically, we got to the Aruba airport at 9 o'clock in the morning. Our flight was at 2. They instructed us that you should definitely be there as early as you can be just because the lines get crazy. They're really understaffed. It's just a madhouse. So we were doing nothing. We were like, whatever, we don't care. We got there, got through all security. No problem there. Plane got a little bit delayed, only by like 15 minutes, 20 minutes coming in, but we actually got off the ground in like record time. It was kind of crazy. Like they sat us down. And dude, I'm not even kidding. Within like 15 minutes from us sitting down, they're like, all right, everyone have your seatbelts ready to go. I was like, damn, all right. They're not messing around. They want to get airborne. And yeah, I mean, we hit a little bit of turbulence on the way in, kind of just some bumpy patches, but we got to right over Trenton 20 minutes out. That's literally what it said on the time. It's like you're 20 minutes from landing. And one of my buddies that I'm on the vacation with, like pointed at it and goes, yo, look at your map. And I looked at it and we were circling. And it just kept showing because JetBlue has a really good, like, up-to-date map on, like, it shows you if you've circled 5 times, it'll show you, like, a ring that continues to grow with, like, every line. So it showed that, and I was like, okay, well, let's give it a few. The pilot came on and was like, hey, guys, we're circling. We're just trying to, we're trying to land in Newark, and we're trying to figure it all out. 10 minutes later, they come back on. And right before they're about to come back on, I'm on the map looking. Everyone else is just trying to keep busy, pay attention. And I look on it, and they reroute us to JFK. So I start telling everyone around me. I'm like telling my girlfriend, telling my buddies. I'm like, look, they rerouted us. And everyone's like, no, we're not going to JFK, do whatever. Just it's a reroute. And he comes on the mic and says, oh, yeah, like, we're going to have to reroute to JFK because, they would have kept us in the air way too long and we didn't have enough gas. And I was like, okay, well, that's not ideally what I wanted to hear, but I was like, you know what, whatever. And I'm telling everyone, I'm like, at least they'll land us, we'll be good.
Yeah.
So we're landing, and dude, it wasn't terrible, but it was not good. Like it was very bumpy coming in. There was like a storm that was in the area. It was raining a little bit, but like we were coming in and it was kind of like a rough patch coming in. We were all very happy to land, and the pilot lands and he's like, we're just going to get some more fuel and we're going to go to Newark. And everyone's like, oh my God, we don't want to go airborne again. At that point, everyone was kind of like, just like, I either want to be off the plane or I want you guys to get us right back in the air. So me and, Kayla and my two of our friends, Paige and Anthony, we all just decided, we're like, you know what, let's just get off the plane. Like, we'll go back to Newark later and we'll get the bags. We don't want to deal with what could possibly come, with just like a delay, a wait, or whatever. So we get off the plane, and this one girl's like freaking out, dude. I'm surprised that she didn't get detained. This girl was like screaming and yelling. She's like, I'm getting off the plane. And we're like, okay. Like, they're letting you. Who cares? So when we get off, this one girl that was like with us in like the tunnel is like, yeah, it's actually better we all got off. This same thing happened to me like 2 weeks ago, where I was coming from Florida to Newark. Landing there, they rerouted her to JFK, and they kept her on the ground for 4 hours. Then they put her back up in the air to go to Newark, and she was airborne for 2 hours in a holding pattern because they couldn't land there.
Oh
So
my.
when we heard that, we were like so happy, because like I kind of figured that something like that would happen, and I was like, I don't want to wait and then go back up in the air and then have to wait in the air. Like, I just want to be grounded.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So at that point, we're all like, all right, let's split an Uber. We'll get an Uber back. So we get dinner at JFK. Then we all split an Uber back. The Uber ride's like about an hour. We all get back. We're able to like drop Kayla off because she was like, I'm just tired. Can you guys drop me at the apartment? We drop her off. We go back to get the bags. We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. Finally, people from the flight start coming off. And they're like, are you guys from the same flight? We're like, yeah, we got off. This is what we did. And they're like, are you kidding me? We just landed. Like, they had been waiting for probably 3 hours, 3.5 hours, almost close to 4 hours, like of just waiting, of refueling before they took off.
Yeah.
Crazy. So then finally, the worst part about it was more when we got to the baggage claim to get the bags, they kept sending us back and forth from like the 8th baggage claim, whatever thing. And then the first one, they were like, oh no, it's on the first one now, guys. There's a delay here. We'd go to that one, we'd wait 10 minutes. Then they're like, oh no, like they're saying it's back at the other one. Dude, we did that like 6 times. So it was just like, all in all, it was like one of those things where just everyone was just confused. Everyone was given the wrong information. And it was kind of like, I'm very happy to get back, you know, and now we're dealing with a COVID thing. So like, it's one of those weeks, one of those days, one of those years, one of those everything. But it's all good, always could be worse. So it's not a huge concern on that end. And, we're ready to go.
With all that happened, would you say the vacation was worth it?
Oh yeah, I mean the vacation itself was definitely worth it. It was a great time.
Yeah.
It towards that end, I think we all were like, we hate to go, but like we also want to come back. But like, if I know my girlfriend, she'd definitely rather have COVID laying on a beach than being, back in Roselle, New Jersey, kind of a thing. But hey, I'm just, I'm just happy that she was able to enjoy the trip. We were all able to enjoy the trip, and then, knock on wood, we'll see if I test positive, if, anyone else tests positive. But, hopefully hopefully the vaccine will help in that, and, not making me super sick, which is, kind of the goal. It kind of seems like at this point, everybody's going to get it to some degree. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like something that you can only chase for so long. So I'm excited to be back, and hopefully we won't be doing too many virtual pods. It's exciting stuff.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, I'm glad you had a great time. I'm sorry to hear that you had one wild experience with the airlines and whatnot, or just the airport in general. But I guess that happens. That happens sometimes.
I plan on writing a very strongly worded email and getting some credit back or points, or maybe a free flight.
Sure.
Got to pull a Karen really quickly, put my hair back.
Got it. Right.
Speak to your manager right now, sir and or ma'am, like right now.
Yeah. But all right. Yeah, like I said, glad you had a great time and everything like that. So guys, we have a pretty bulky episode for you guys today. We got a couple of reviews we're going to talk about. Got a couple of things in a news roundup we're going to talk about. And then we have our main topic, which is going to be, as you already know, is the top 5 favorite music videos from both of us. So we're going to go pretty quickly with this news roundup here. Luke, you're not going to have much to say about this because I know you're not that much of an anime guy, but I did just want to bring up my excitement for a trailer that came out for JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 6, Stone Ocean. Trailer just came out. All I'll say about it is that music is fantastic in it. It's a Netflix exclusive, which I'm pretty surprised about. They didn't do that before with this series. And it makes me question if there's going to be a Japanese and English version come out at the same time, because they usually put the Japanese version out and then the English version of that episode comes out a couple days later. So I'm curious to see if they do that at the same time. And it's coming out in December of 2021. It would be sick if it landed on my birthday, the 12th. Second thing on the list, Chloe Bennett. Are you familiar with her, Luke? Actress. No. She played Quake and Inhuman in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Okay.
One of the main stars and whatnot. Anyway, she was supposed to play Blossom in CW's live-action Powerpuff Girls show, and she just left the project.
Oh.
Now, this project that they've been working on, they filmed the pilot. The CEO of CW hated how it turned out, and they refilmed it. Now it's going through reshoots, and now she suddenly leaves. So it's not looking very good for this Powerpuff live action series. What I'll say about it is I'm glad this is happening, because they shouldn't be making this to begin with. That's what I gotta say with that.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong on that one.
It's ridiculous. First off, you're looking at the CW, which is the pinnacle of the worst television out there.
Right?
It's bad. It's bad. It's corny. It's bad. CGI is bad. When
I would literally rather watch Hallmark Channel.
Oh, me too.
Like,
absolutely. No. They just do not have a good track record, but surprisingly enough, a lot of people still eat it up with a lot of their shows. So that's what's happening in the Powerpuff universe with the live action stuff. And then third, I don't know if you got a chance to look at this, Netflix live action Avatar: The Last Airbender series revealed its cast, its main cast members. So I'm going to put a picture up for the podcast, for everyone to check out. If you want to check out too what they look like, because I'm telling you, dude, these actors, they're younger kids, as they should be, for Aang and everyone. They look exactly like the character they're playing. I'm not even kidding. So that's a good sign. Don't know what their acting chops are like, because I don't know them in general. They're probably brand new actors and actresses. Yeah. And we'll see. I said this before. I'll say it again. With Netflix, their movies are a big hit and miss. Sometimes it's not even 50-50 with that. But their shows they're pretty on point with. I know you have a different opinion on that when we did our streaming podcast.
I'd say 70-30. I'd say 70-30.
70 for the movies or both of them?
For the TV. For TV, I'll give them 70% of the time they hit, 30% they don't. That's a decent number for me.
No, that is decent. That is decent.
I personally think it'd be more like 60-40, but I'll give you 70-30 just because I know that's your baby and I know that's your favorite. So I'll give you that. Like, I don't know, did you watch Outer Banks yet?
I didn't watch this. I'm like holding off on it for some reason. I don't know why.
I was gonna watch it on the plane, and I just decided against it. And I've heard it's decent, but like if you think about it, what I explained to people with Outer Banks, it's not a terrible show, but like it was a good show for us being locked inside. Like, exactly. You know what I mean? Like like. I know people that are obsessed with it, and it's like, listen, I get that. I'm not saying they're bad actors, bad actresses. Like, there's times where I'm kind of like, oh, like that's cringy. Yeah. And there's just certain things, but like this is a show that you could put on another network like a CW and could get away with. It's got more money into it. Like, it's produced pretty well and stuff. Like, but you look at it and you're like, okay, well, we liked that because we were stuck inside. Like, it's not the same as like a Queen's Gambit or a Bridgerton, like not even that I watch those, but like it's not better,
compared to those,
No, and that's what I'm saying. So like, I It is what it is. I'm gonna watch it. I know a couple people that watched it, so I'm excited to check that out. But I feel that with Netflix, that's definitely dope.
Yeah, with Outer Banks, I'm definitely going to check it out as well. I've heard from one person, Stans, and he said it was all right, not better than the first season.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious of how this project would have turned out if we weren't in a pandemic. What
Yeah.
hype would it really have gotten? Maybe it would have gotten the same hype. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, what's also going to be interesting with it is like I was going to bring up a few quick things just to kind of touch upon too. But one of the things I was going to say also is going to be Stranger Things, like seeing how that does. Because what is this, the fourth season now that's about to come out? We just got that teaser last week or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So, I think that'll kind of be interesting to see because season 1 was great. Season 2 was not good. Season 3 was okay. So now it's like, this is like a make or break for them because like they can put this season out and if it's not good, then for the next couple years we're just going to keep watching like okay, it's like just filler and it's just a money grab. Where like if you can actually make it a good story, good plot, people will still watch. I mean, people are going to still watch it anyway, but just in general, you know what I mean? Like you got to get people invested a little bit more back into it, in my opinion.
I agree with you. What I won't really agree with you with is that I thought the second season was good. I thought all three were good, and I think it was mainly because I binged it. Maybe
Yeah.
I didn't notice like some of the flaws between the cracks or whatever the case may be. That didn't stand out to me that much.
I just think 1 and 3 had more meat to them. Like I think
The second season was the weakest out of all of
yeah,
them. So.
that's why I don't like it because I sit there and I'm like, okay, like you went from 1 and you could have just had an upward trajectory, like, and then it could have kept building. But it's like you went to 1 and then between 1 and 2, it's like, oh, okay, like that's not like a huge difference, huge change. And then you went to 3 and you're like, all right, this is getting better because they're getting older, they're maturing, they're becoming this, they're that. But again, I'm the critic on this episode on this podcast. So I critique the smallest of things because why the hell not?
Yeah, sometimes you got to, man. It's good to critique those small things, and hopefully more people will notice that. It'll get more traction, and they just make the show better after that.
100%. No, I definitely agree. Really quickly too, I wanted to bring up just like a couple really quick things also, just before we do all of it. I'm excited to see Green Knight. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard it's pretty good. They are going to do a screening that's going to be virtual on August 18th. So if you're interested in possibly doing it, it's like a $20. You can buy it off 824. So I might do that because if I'm stuck inside because I can't leave, then I think that's my only solution kind of a situation.
Right.
But I have heard pretty good things about that. So that's 1. 2, I have seen the semi-finale, the part 1 of the finale of Bad Batch. It is very good. Bad Batch is the finale will be tomorrow, which will then be Friday in the past of when we watched it. So obviously, hopefully the next time I'm on this podcast, I can give a thumbs up, thumbs down. So far, I've enjoyed the show. It, a lot of it in the middle was filler where I think they could have kind of shortened it down and made it a little bit more of a cohesive storyline. But I enjoyed a lot, and I think the finale is going to be really good because they just destroyed Camino, which was the whole premise of the clones and stuff. So now we finally know.
Yeah.
Really good there. What else am I missing? The only one other thing I was gonna say was Kanye still didn't drop his album, but he did. If you haven't been watching, and I'm a Kanye fan, he had 2 live performances at Mercedes-Benz. One had 3.3 million streams on Apple Music. The next one had 5.6 million streams on Apple Music. So anyone that thinks he's still irrelevant or thinks that Drake is better than him or thinks he's crazy, you can screw off because you're an idiot and you know absolutely nothing about music, and you should probably just bury yourself in a hole for as long as physically possible. That's it.
Couple things from what you just ran down. Green Knight, I am very excited for. I do want to watch that. As far as Kanye, he was at those like listening parties or whatever they were. He was performing songs from Donda.
So what he does at those is he did like a performance both times, where like the first time it was him just on the stage, which was the open field, just walking around while the music plays. So he's done this at a couple listening parties where it's not, he doesn't perform, but he plays the album to get a reaction of the fans. So he did this. He did this for the Life of Pablo in 2016. And I was at the performance at MSG, and he did something very similar where he played it for the audience, and then a couple days later he released it. So right now we're in that little bit of an area where a lot of people are just getting frustrated because they're like, oh, well, it's not out yet. And, it is frustrating, but at the end of the day, I mean, you kind of have to respect his craft where you're like, you know what, he's not holding it to screw with us. He's not holding it to not ever put it out. Like it's gonna have to come out, but it's more of a like, you know what, he wants to perfect it. Like he wants to master it. He wants to make sure the album is perfect, because if, Kanye is like a perfectionist that in itself. But if you look back, like what I've been telling a lot of people is like Kanye and his mother had a very good relationship, and prior to her passing, everyone says that was like his golden age of music, and everything after that was not good. Because of his mom's passing, he kind of went a little off the deep end, which is understandable. But this is his 10th studio album, and it is revolved around his mother. So that's why I think it is going to be so good, just because it's really going to revolve around his relationship with her and her teaching him. And it's really going to be, in my opinion, a beautiful album. I know someone that chopped it up from the performance and made it into MP files. So if anyone from Kanye's team watches this, no, I don't have it, and I'm not listening to it every day.
It's holding you over for right now until the actual.
And that's kind of the thing. It's like right now I'm listening to it in the degree that I can, but I already pre-ordered the album for when it comes out. So like when I do get it, it'll be great to listen to. And I'm more someone that I'm not being greedy to myself. Like I want more people to listen to it as well. Like I want people to enjoy it the way I enjoy it, because again, this is my guy. Like I love Kanye so much, and he has such an important part of my life. But like it's not because I think he's the best at music and like it doesn't matter. Like he does all of this, like he's wearing the mask for a reason. Like I'll talk to you offline about it. But like if you haven't looked up that he's wearing this mask lately, there's a reason behind it. Like he's doing these performances, there's a reason behind it. Everything he does is so calculated, and I like love that. Because people think he's like, oh, well, he's just a crazy man. And it's like, well, like, first off, like, you shouldn't ever call someone crazy, because, like, just because their craft isn't the way that you want it to be, or just because they don't act the way you do, Johnny, working your 9-to-5 job, doesn't make them crazy. It just, he's an artist in the purest form, not musically. Just, he's an artist. Everything he does, he wants to turn into art. Like, sculptures, paintings, music, performances, whatever he does, like he just wants it to be art, but yeah, that's my opinion on that. And if anyone needs my line, just contact Frank and we can get into a nice little Kanye debate, or just talk or vent or anything like that you want, because I'm ready, guns a-blazing.
One other movie I wanted to bring up that I want to see is with Nicolas Cage. It's called Pig.
Yep.
Trailers for that. It got amazing reviews, that movie.
Dude, I've heard crazy things about it. I'm really like I'm gonna definitely have to check it out, because I've heard it's wild, but who the hell knows? Because it's a truffle pig, right? Have you like looked into it? I think it's a truffle pig that he's got.
All I know is that it's his pet pig, and it either got lost or someone took it, and it's almost like a John Wick scenario.
Yeah.
Like instead of them killing his dog, like they took his pig.
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's spot on, but I think it's a truffle pig, if I'm not mistaken. And basically, do you know what, like, how that works, or with truffle pigs? So basically, you know what truffle fries are, truffle aioli, like that expensive ass mushroom, which is truffle. Basically, the only way to find it is to have, I think, like dogs or pigs smell it out, and that's how you find truffles. So that's why they're so expensive. So if I'm not mistaken, I think that is his truffle pig or something. That's what I thought I had heard, but again, I don't know. Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out. I'm almost more drawn to indie movies lately than actual movies. Like Jungle Cruise will be fun to watch in a couple months when it's free on Disney Plus. Like I'll just put it on as a rock movie.
Yeah.
Emily Blunt is great, so like I won't be mad. And like I respect The Rock's. I probably talked a lot of shit about The Rock on this, but like, listen, man, he's a hard ass working guy. He might not play a very diverse portfolio of characters, but he works his ass off. So I can't be too pissed about it, and he deserves the money. He's put in his time. But yeah, man, I like
Road right now.
yeah. Well, I'm literally like more invested in like A24 movies and then like solo movies and like just I'm literally more drawn to that than the studio shit not shit that's being put out, but just in general, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. It's good for a change sometimes with stuff like that too. And like you get different directors that you've maybe never seen before that put out a movie and everything like that. I think that's awesome.
There was also a trailer. I saw a trailer for like a movie called Lamb or something like that. I don't know if you saw that floating around. I'll try to find it. It was literally like a silent trailer. I don't think they like spoke the whole time, but like there was a lot of like eerie music playing, and like I guess they can't have a kid, and like one of the lambs gives birth, and the mother like is convinced that the lamb is her child, and it looked like freaky, creepy, all that kind of stuff. But I'll find the trailer and send it to you because I was like, holy shit, I don't know what this is, but like I don't know if I like this or not.
All right, I'll definitely have to give it a look for sure. But all right, that's our little spur of news roundup right there. We're gonna move on to our reviews now. The first review we got is Marvel's What If, the first episode featuring Captain Carter. Thanks for that, Luke. I typed out a couple of stuff that I thought about it. It was decent. It was nothing crazy to me. What I'll say that I loved about it was the animation was fantastic.
Fantastic.
I think it was very unique, and they made it their own as far as the animation, and the action was incredible. Yeah. I thought the action was probably the strongest thing of this episode. Very fast-paced, which I actually enjoyed a lot.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the fast-pacedness of it. I mean, they had to cram so much in to a 30-minute episode. But they did it well, I thought. And it goes to show you in this episode that Peggy Carter is a way more superior super soldier than Steve was in the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, she kicked so much ass. It was ridiculous. And she was someone that was already in the field and everything before she got the super soldier serum. Like, instead of Steve, who was just a skinny kid who was just in training for the army and whatnot. So that's probably where it makes sense. But definitely a more superior first Avenger than Steve was, I think, But yeah, now I actually have plenty of gripes with this episode, and it could possibly be for the series as a whole. So it might just be me, but the voice acting seemed off to me. Like something seemed out of place. I feel like the voice acting needed more energy towards the performance. I really don't know how to explain it. Like, for instance, like Sebastian Stan came back to voice Bucky. I don't think he did a good job. Like,
I think everyone's saying that. A lot of people I'm looking at on Instagram are saying that. Like a lot of the accounts that I follow that are Marvel accounts.
Really? They're saying that?
A lot of people are saying they're pissed off with Sebastian Stan's voice acting.
Some people just shouldn't voice act, man. You should leave that to professional voice actors. Like, I have people on YouTube that preach, like, I'm not excited for when a big name becomes a voice actor, because it's like there's someone else who's a professional voice actor in video games, whatever, that can do a lot better job. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, I think getting the big name for the money, cash grab.
Yeah, no. Well, I don't know if it's for a cash grab with this, because at the end of the day, I mean, he's the character, so it makes sense to put him there. Where like if you hadn't put him as Bucky, people would be like, oh, is there a reason why? Like, why is that? You know what I'm saying? Like, people would start to question it. I think his downfall is more that he is a very monotone actor in general. I mean,
he very much is. Yeah.
You know, even when you saw him in all of the movies he's been in, and in Captain America and the Winter Soldier, I mean, or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Oh, he's Captain America now, but whatever.
Right.
In general, like he's not someone that's exciting, so that's why it doesn't translate well to the show. Yeah. I agree with you that it wasn't my favorite thing, but I mean, it is what it is, kind of a thing. If that's one of the only things I'm going to be mad at, I can't be that mad, right? It's like, oh, like he didn't do that good of a job. Okay, well, all he did was talking to a mic, so like, thankfully, the whole episode wasn't revolved around him. But I know what you're saying. It did look a little bit like, it almost looked like the character talked and it's delayed like it is now. It was like he would say something and then he's like, let's go do this. Like it kind of was a delay to it.
Yeah, something definitely just seemed off with it. And another thing I was going to bring up with that, I think that just some actors need to be surrounded in an atmosphere where like the scene is actually happening to like put that energy towards it. Like, I'm sure it's hard to just be in an audio recording booth and have this high energy when all you have is just a script in front of your face. No other people around you, no other energies or anything like that. So there was that. Another reason why I didn't like this episode that much, because it was too similar to Captain America: The First Avenger. Yeah. We were seeing scenes already that we already saw in the first movie, and I really hope that's not something that happens in the next couple episodes. Yeah. But I give it the benefit of the doubt, because next week's episode is going to be T'Challa becoming Star-Lord. And with that, I feel like the scenarios could be endless, and it's going to be a completely different story than we've ever seen before. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to get better in that instance. But for this episode, it was too much of the same thing for me.
Yeah, I think with this one, though, the only thing I will say, I agree with you. It was very similar, but I guess the reason it was so similar was because, like, that is a scenario that basically technically could have happened. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, everything else we're going to hopefully branch out to is going to be stuff like T'Challa becoming Star-Lord. It wouldn't happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a what if, but it, like, wouldn't happen. Where the first episode here, in a world where all of that happened, Peggy Carter could have become, Captain England or Captain whatever. That could have technically happened because, again, she was very similar to Steve. They were very similar characters where, like, they're both just super devoted to their countries and wanting to win and motivated and whatever. So, like, I agree with you that it's like something that, hey, it could have been better, 100%. But, like, this one was just something that, like, laid the framework. And at the end of the day, it's kind of just one of those episodes where it's like, okay, like, it could have in a out there world happen where everything else we're going to probably watch is going to just be branched realities of, like, whatever.
Of like wild different shit. Like, that's what I'm interested in, and that's what got me excited for the series, to be honest with you. Mm-hmm. This episode was like a little bit of salt and pepper, like, basically, of like just a little taste of what's to come in a deal. Yeah, a little the salt guy. Like, just a little taste of what's going to happen, and it's probably the most probable instance of something that could happen, like you were saying before. What was I going to say? Oh, there were some missed opportunities in this episode too, I thought. For instance, Steve Rogers in the Hydra Stomper suit falling off the train instead of Bucky. One, he either could have become the Winter Soldier in the future, which they didn't do. Peggy Carter saved him at the end of the episode. Or Hydra, instead of making him the Winter Soldier, Hydra could have studied Stark's technology suit and made Iron Man suits and created a whole army and be unstoppable. Yeah. I think those were two different branches in time that should have happened in this episode, or maybe in a future episode if they didn't save Steve and everyone just presumed he was dead. So I think they missed the mark on that.
Yeah, I would have preferred Steve at the end of the episode, credits roll, post scene, opens his eyes and his eyes are red, or opens, wakes up in a lab. Like, I would have preferred something like that, because then even if it never comes to fruition, it always has us like, oh my God, like
Like,
what if, like that's the whole point. That's the whole point, you know?
exactly. And now for my biggest, I'm bashing on this a lot, but my biggest problem with the episode is Captain Carter steals the Tesseract back from Hydra halfway through the episode. And I don't know if it's because it was so fast paced they didn't think people would catch it, but at the end of the episode, Red Skull just suddenly had the Tesseract again and opened up the portal for that giant octopus monster to come out. Like, how did Hydra get the Tesseract back? That there was no explanation whatsoever. It's like something they totally skipped. I don't know if you noticed that, but like, wait, am I missing something? Like, Captain Carter put the Tesseract on that douchebag soldier's desk, who kept on saying, "You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be the super soldier." Right? Remember? And
Yeah.
I'm
Maybe
like,
maybe he gave it back.
Biggest gripe. That's like a big plot hole, like plot point that was just never explained at all.
No, that's a huge plot hole. You're definitely correct on that end.
Yeah. But that's all I had on it. Like I said, I give this series the benefit of the doubt. I think we're going to get a lot more wild scenarios in the future, like next week's episode. And I mean, I'm also excited for the zombie episode too. I think that's going to be sick as well. So yeah, that's all I really got for it. Unless you had anything else you want to add.
No, I mean, I would say I agree with you. I did. I mean, I did enjoy it at the end of the day. It was very fast paced, like you said. It did feel a little bit choppy at times. Again, it is only the first episode. I mean, you basically said everything I was gonna say. The only thing I will say that like I get a laugh at is like, imagine thinking this is bad TV, like just in general.
Yeah.
This is good. It's not its best. Like, it's not Marvel's best, but this is still better than like so many other properties and so many other things. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, every time I watch something Marvel related, I'm like, how like, they have Disney obviously, which is great, but like, I'm like, holy shit. Like, how does anyone not think this is good? Like, this is good writing, it's good TV. It's regardless if it's a bad episode or not, like, all the TV shows Marvel just put out are great. All the movies, great. All this shit, like even their bad stuff is like, oh well, this would be a great movie if it was a DC property. No offense, Frank, or in general. But do you know what I mean? Like, I sit there and I watch a shit and I'm like, oh my god, like the animation I loved. Like, I thought the animation was great. They did a really good job with it. And then like the fight scenes and shit were great too. Like the dialogue wasn't perfect, but all of that, and then play this how they're playing this all out is really interesting to me. WandaVision, dimensional, different timelines, different variants, all this shit. And then compared to Falcon and Winter Soldier and Black Widow, which are technically speaking more actiony movies, and they're tying in the knot on like what's happening after the phase of what we know of the typical people, the typical guys of, you know what I mean? So like, I'm just watching and I'm like, if you don't like this stuff, I get it if you like haven't watched comic book movies or you're not like us. You don't have to be a huge nerd, but like to ever think this stuff is not good, you're like delusional. To think some of this shit doesn't deserve an award because it's a comic book movie or stuff, it's just like, it's pathetic. Like, people need to adapt and understand that like, you literally, like, Black Widow wasn't perfect, but it was good, right? Did you enjoy it? Loved it. Like,
I liked it a lot. Yeah.
And we'll pivot into what we talk about next with Suicide Squad. I mean, look at Suicide Squad. It should not be as good as it was. Not even close. not even that it's a DC property, just in general. It's a comic book movie, right? No one gives a shit.
Right.
That's not the truth. Like, you can see how much Taika Waititi and James Gunn like love what they do. And like, you can see how much like some of these guys are like, they grew up as comic book nerds. You can tell that these guys grew up not just like, oh, I've never watched Star Wars before. Oh, I've never watched Marvel before. I've never read a comic book. And I'm not saying that needs to be the direct correlation, But like you can definitely see it when these guys are making these movies that they actually care. Like they make a cohesive storyline, they make good characters, they make good it's just it blows my mind when people are like, oh, it's shit so stupid. You watch cartoons. It's like, yeah, because it's freaking good. Like
Right.
like I tell people all the time, Rebels, Clone Wars, Bad Batch, like all that shit is unreal. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's wild. But that's just my tangent really quickly.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. People are just too skeptical and are just too quick to judge with it. I think that's what it is at the end of the
2021.
But all right, let's move on to our second review. Spoiler review for The Suicide Squad. So I once again wrote a good amount of stuff for this as well. I knew this movie was going to be great because James Gunn was involved, but I didn't think this movie was going to be that fucking fantastic. I'll tell you.
I told you. Why don't you listen to me more?
It's going to be as good as I thought this movie was going to be, and it was freaking fantastic. In fact, it might be my highest rated DCEU movie right now. And I keep on telling myself, I was like, I need more time to think about it.
No.
And maybe I still do, because I do love Man of Steel a lot. I do love the first Wonder Woman a lot. But I think this definitely takes the cake, 110%. I praise James Gunn so much for what he did with this movie and the characters he added, all unknown characters and everything like that. Speaking of the characters, every character had every main character, I should say, in the movie did a phenomenal job, except for one, which I will bring up a little later.
Okay.
What do I got to say about this? John Cena surprised the hell out of me.
Awesome.
Surprised the hell out of me. He was hilarious, and it was really towards the end of the movie you really knew what his character was all about. And all I have to say is that I can't wait for his HBO Max show that's coming out soon. I have become a huge. I was always skeptical. I'm bringing up that word again. I was always skeptical of John Cena for his acting skills in the past. I brought it up
the Marine
times. Huh?
The Marine? That was his best movie.
No. But he surprised the hell out of me. He's definitely more up there, not as like a great actor or anything like that, but he's becoming a favorite of mine. Rick Flag takes it up a notch as well. I thought he did better than he did in the first movie.
Yeah, 100%.
Man, fantastic, funny, and surprisingly very powerful in this world. Extremely powerful in this world. Ratcatcher 2.
Awesome. Why did I see
Not only did I think she was smoking hot, she's actually a beautiful actress. If you've seen interviews with her, I'd hang out with her with rats anytime. That's all I'll say with that.
Ratcatcher 2, if you want to come through to the pod, Frank is willing and ready at all moments of the day.
Yes, I am. So not only do I think that, but she brought a lot of heart into the movie.
I see you outside in your driveway with the fucking Wii remote or the Sony controller, like trying to fucking go to your gutters, like, dude, like, come on, come out. Oh my god!
I might have to try that. No joke,
dude. You literally need to make a video of that. Like, make a video of you doing that. Be like trying to and like tag her in it. Be like just trying to get the rats to come.
Yeah, I gotta make a TikTok of it. That's what I gotta do. Yeah, absolutely. That's such a good idea. No, she brought a lot of heart to the movie. Like, every character had their purpose almost of either all funny, but one had the main comedic part. The other brought the heart. The other brought the major action, all that sort of stuff. And King Shark brought a lot of the heart to the movie too. You feel bad for him throughout most of it. And I thought he was a great addition of it. Now, I will say was one of my what?
I knew you were going this way. I didn't think you were going to say what you were about to say, but I think you're about to tell me something that I'm not excited to hear.
Oh, okay. You might know what it is. So Peacemaker and Bloodsport, my two favorite characters of this movie.
Okay.
I already told you what I thought about Peacemaker. Idris Elba did so well in this movie.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah. Idris Elba did so good in this movie, like he does in almost every movie that he's in. But I was nervous at first because I thought that he was just there to be the replacement for Deadshot. I really did think he was just going to be the replacement. Even in the trailers, they show there's a plot point with him and his daughter, which was similar to the same thing with Deadshot and his daughter in the first Suicide Squad. I was worried about that. But the whole daughter plot line was perfectly balanced, as Thanos would say, in the movie. And it was great. I even think Bloodsport. Yeah, there you go. I even think Bloodsport was better than Deadshot. I like Bloodsport better than Deadshot.
100%.
Now
I'm
my
sorry to say this, but Idris Elba's a better actor than Will Smith.
Oh, I think so too.
I'm sorry to say that, and I hope this can be brought up. Idris Elba was a great actor. Will Smith's a good actor too. Idris Elba is awesome.
I don't think Idris Elba really had a stinker.
You'd have to think back.
I know. We would really have to look back and research that. But
was he being casted as James Bond? Am I wrong with that?
There's heavy rumors about that, and that would be a sick choice. I would love it.
Love that. I would fucking love that. That'd be so fucking
cool. Accent too. He's got the accent, so
fucking cool.
Fantastic. All right, my hot take of the night. I brought up before that everyone did a fantastic job except for one character, and I kind of over exaggerated that because she did do great. But Harley Quinn was probably the weakest part of the movie, in my opinion. Some of her scenes just seemed forced that she was there, in my opinion. It's like Warner Brothers went to James Gunn and was like, do whatever you want, but you need to have Harley Quinn in the movie. She's a seller point. You need to have her in there. And like I said, Margot does a great job as always with her. She does a great job in her roles that she does. But in reality, in my opinion, they didn't need her in this movie.
Yeah. Here's my thing. I think she did a good job. I think she was better comic relief in this movie than anything. I thought she did a really fantastic job as comic relief, in certain parts of the movie when they'd say shit. When she shot the guy and she was talking about how she's like, I'll never let a man hurt me again. I thought that was fucking hilarious. This guy's bleeding out on the floor and she's got a pistol in her hand talking about how when Puddin told me that we were broken, all that shit, I was fucking cracking up. And then even though when she gets in the thing, she's got I thought the javelin was super fucking funny. She falls in love with this guy with the javelin, not falls in love, but she's like, oh my God, I'm so invested with this guy in the javelin. Oh, I have to carry it around. Why? And she's putting it in the taxi. She's doing all this shit with it. I thought that was really good. What I will say to agree with you there a little bit, one thing that kind of confused me was I understand they had to build it in with the plot, but Rick Flag and her, build up, could have died. They kind of got thrown into that situation to die because everyone else that was in that opening scene, that was a diversion team. So that's where my head, I was like, you could have put them on the other team and it would have been okay. Yeah. And then you could have had that one team work as the team and the other team as just the diversion team. You know what I mean?
I think that just shows how ruthless Amanda Waller really is. And you want to know what? Maybe she just thought she has no use for Rick Flag anymore. Yeah, let's put him on this team where they're all going to die. Who really wants a Harley Quinn in existence in the world? You know what I'm saying? Throw her too. Throw her two in there. Speaking of Amanda Waller, Viola Davis did a fantastic. She was barely in it, but she did a fantastic job as her again. Like there was never a worry with her with that. What did they do to my boy Captain Boomerang though? He was a main character in the first movie, and they killed him.
I said the same fucking thing when he died.
Hey,
I think they could have done it better or left it open-ended. Like you just saw him possibly die, like, and then like maybe comes back. Cause I was like, oh damn, like he was a good character and he was only in it for like fucking 30 seconds and then he's done.
That's what I'm saying, the first whole scene of the movie, you like figure out what you're getting into. It's like, all right, all these characters are getting hyped up, and then they all die. And it's like, all right, we're going to be seeing a lot of deaths in this movie, a lot of main character deaths. And, I thought it was a great starting off point, to be honest with you. I loved it. What was hilarious was the song that they played when the credits started rolling in the beginning of the movie, where it goes like, these are people who died, these are people who died, these are people who died. Like when they kept on singing that and they started showing like the credits for like Pete Davidson and like Barney and everything like that, I thought it was perfect. What else do I gotta say about it? Weasel, disgusting, but good character.
I hate to say that I was influential in making the Suicide Squad second movie, but I was influential in making the second Suicide Squad's movie. I mean,
you definitely were. I mean, we were talking about this movie since our second episode, where our main topic was predicting the roster of this new Suicide Squad movie, and you brought up most of the names. Well, you had King Shark and Weasel on there.
Yep, wow, baby.
Ratcatcher on there just because the word rat was on there. You might have had that name on there too.
Damn, bro, your boy is on fire. Like, what can I say? Holy shit.
Speaking of the deaths, main character deaths, Rick Flagg's death was very honorable. I thought it was well. I didn't think he was gonna die, to be completely honest.
I agree. I didn't think he was gonna die. I was like, holy shit, that kind of sucks.
And Polka Dot Man's death. It was very sudden, that's for sure. But that's all I'll really say with that. I thought Polka Dot Man was a great character. He went out with a bang, blasting off Starro's leg or whatever you want to call it. Speaking of Starro, best DC villain we've seen in a film yet, in my opinion. I think Starro was fantastic. We're talking a Justice League level threat that the Suicide Squad had to take care of. It seems so unlikely they were going to win that I thought I was literally thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, Superman might pop up. I was thinking Superman might pop up. Like they brought him up in the beginning of the movie. Superman could pop up and it would be an awkward confrontation between Superman and Bloodsport because Bloodsport put Superman in the hospital with the kryptonite bullet.
Yeah.
That would have been sick. But it didn't happen, which is okay. I'm not like mad at it or anything. But best villain we've seen so far in the DCEU. That's all I really had on there. But I did want to mention something else. I forgot what I was about to say. No, I think that's it. Actually, that's all I had on the movie for the most part.
Well, if you think of anything, I have a few things I just wanted to say on it. I agreed. I thought it was great. I'd been hyping it up. I'd been almost like, I knew Frank knew it was going to be better than the first one, but I kind of had to pull him along a little bit, which I enjoy bragging about now because, again, I'm an anti-DC guy, but I loved it. I'm out here. I was pulling Frank's neck. I'm like, Frank, I promise you're going to like it more than the first one. I promise you it's going to be great. And it was. James Gunn absolutely killed it. I thought it was an amazing movie. The character development was great. Like, that's the thing. I thought that would have been the worst part. I thought it was going to be an action, gory, whatever movie with a lot of comedy, but I did not think the character development would be good. And that was one of the best parts about it. The characters growing and maturing and finding their place was really awesome.
Especially with Ratcatcher.
Yeah,
I
100%.
thought Ratcatcher was great with that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the opening scene. I think it exactly like you said, it really showed how DC is ruthless. And here's the other thing. This movie was perfect for DC. Marvel is great, but it is fantasy. Like, to a degree, we don't sit there and ever really with a Marvel movie say like there's a chance. Do you know what I mean? Where DC, it's gritty, it's possibly real. Not that it is, but like, again, you're on the island and you're like convinced that that's a fucking island. You're like, oh shit, this is like a real government. Like, this is a real, literally like real people taking over. I agree with you with Starro. Great villain. I think it was crazy too with Starro because Starro was someone you also felt bad for too, because Starro literally said, you know what, I enjoyed looking up and staring at the stars more. And it's a great way to show that like we as humans ruin everything. That's how I interpreted it. Like, it's the same thing, right? Like, I think I talked about this a couple episodes ago. If we get rid of bees, we ruin the world. If we get rid of trees, we ruin the world. If we get rid of animals, we ruin if we do these things as humans, we would ruin the world. But if we all left off the face of the earth would replenish itself. You know what I mean? So that's what I tell people when I look at it. I'm like, look at like Starro wasn't a villain. He turned into a villain because of what we did, like what they did to him, like the doctor turned him into a monster wanting to take over the world. Like, if he had just continued to circle the earth, there's a great question of like, would he have ever actually come down and tried to take over? Do you know what I mean? Because in my opinion, the first time that he latched on to humans was when he was like, now I want to take over because I see their feeble minds and I can see that I can control them. But if he had just continued circling, I don't know if he would have been like a villain like that. Do you know what I mean? So I thought that was handled really well. What else? I loved the characters. I really thought they were great. I really loved Idris Elba as a character was just great, and I loved he was so funny and he was such a badass, but the rats like were so funny that he was terrified of rats. I loved his weapons. His weapons were fucking sick. I don't know if you saw at the one point when he had the arm slingshot.
Yeah.
He had the arm. And I loved that his suit was so cool because he was taking weapons off of it and making them larger.
Yeah.
Like they were all parts to weapons or like other weapons. I thought that was fucking sick. I loved King Shark. King Shark was so great. I thought he died in the office in the one point where all the things mauled him and he was covered in blood.
Yeah, I thought he died with the same part where he fell off the building and
I was worried he was going to die there too, but I was worried when he originally went underwater and red just shot up. I was like, oh my God, they just killed off King Shark by those little fucking things that were his friends. Because that was the connection I made. I'm like, well, he made friends and his friends ended up killing him. Do you know what I mean? Like, because that was the thing. Like, don't kill your friends. Instead, your friends killed you. So I was like, that would have been a perfect way to have done it.
Yeah.
Not that I wanted it to happen, but I was like, holy shit, no way. And the same thing with like Polka Dot Man, and then the same thing with what was the driver's name? I thought that was such a fucking good part too.
Oh wait, yeah. The guy when he died, they were like
Milton.
Yeah, Milton. Yeah.
That was so fun. And the other great thing about that is I was fucking pissing my pants when they did the one scene where they're walking in the rain and he's on the end of the group. I thought that was so fucking funny because, like, again, no one is paying attention to that except me and you and like us like losers like that where we're just nitpicking everything. And I just see Milton on the end and I'm like, this is fucking hilarious. Next thing you know, he gets shot and they're like, you killed Milton. And then at the end, full circle, because Harley Quinn didn't know who Milton was. Then at the end when he's like, good job, Milton. And he's like, my name's not Milton. I thought that was so fucking good. Like, that almost made up for Harley being, like you said, filler. All of her comedy that was there to like add on to it, So listen, if I'm DC, and I'm Warner Brothers, I would sign that fucking guy James Gunn on for like 5 more Suicide Squads. Like, I know he's doing Peacemaker.
He's doing Peacemaker, right? But he said he's coming back. He already said he's coming back for more DC projects. I don't know if it's going to be Suicide Squad. But I think I know he's coming back for more DC projects.
Well, listen, at this point, DC could use him for a lot of properties.
They could. They really could. And like, listen, all I gotta say, get more characters I don't know about. That's all I can say.
I 100% agree.
No one knows about. But here's the thing, though. I don't know if you saw, this movie bombed at the box office this past weekend.
Well, because of HBO.
It could be because of HBO. It could be because of the Delta variant. It could be, or it could be because it's a lot of characters that people don't know.
I know a lot of people that said they were watching it, but it also might be a lot of people that probably watched the first one just to watch it, and they were like, that sucked, and they don't want to watch the second one. I didn't know it bombed like that, though. That's crazy. I think with HBO being a thing, I think that probably definitely had some influence on it.
That's probably the main thing, yeah.
Let me see. The only other really quick thing I want to bring up is I loved the crediting. I loved the credits that were going on for like the scenes, like showing different points of the like what they were doing, what they were going, like 6 minutes earlier. Everything that was spelled out in that shit, I was cracking up when I saw that stuff.
And he kind of divided it up into chapters that way too. You know what I'm saying? Like almost like a Quentin Tarantino, The Hateful Eight sort of deal.
Yep.
You know, I thought that was sick. I love that part of it too. Yeah, absolutely. Listen, monster of a movie, man. Monster of a movie, and it was executed so well. I'm so happy for James Gunn. I'm happy for DC. And hopefully DC realizes this and says to directors, you could just do whatever you want. The studio is not gonna mangle with your work.
Did you see the first Suicide Squad director came out and said that he got his movie all changed up? Did you see that? I forgot who did the fourth one.
Yeah, David Ayer.
Yeah. Did you see that he was complaining about that?
Pissed at them too, and a lot of fans, a lot of hardcore DC fans are like they did with release the Snyder cut. They're saying release the Ayer cut now. They want to see his version of Suicide Squad.
I mean, you might as well, man. Listen, you got to feel bad for these directors because they probably put their heart and soul into a property like this, and then Warner Brothers comes and they're like,
Right, exactly.
Like that's not right. Like
what I'm saying is that just listen to your fans. Give them what the fans want. You're gonna be making money off of it. Why not just do it? I just don't understand that part of it, you know?
No, I 100% agree. I'm like, I can't stand when they do this shit, but at the end of the day, that's how the business goes, you know?
Yeah, I guess so. It is what it is for sure.
Oh my God, $12.2 million. That's all they made on Friday.
Dude, I know. Listen, you look at the numbers for like altogether for the weekend, it seems big, but for a blockbuster movie like that, it didn't do well. It didn't do too well at all. And I hope that changes during this week into this upcoming weekend. We'll see. I'm rewatching it again on this weekend, not at theaters, but I'm rewatching it on HBO Max with the family because I was like, listen, you guys need to watch this. You guys are really enjoy this. So yeah, that's with that. Ready to move on to our main topic?
Let's do it.
So our main topic of the night is the top 5 favorite music videos of ours. With that being said, I had 5, 6, 7. I have 8 in total. 3 of them are honorable mentions, so I'll run through those right now, and then if you have honorable mentions, we'll run through yours as well. So number 1 in honorable mentions is Kanye West and Lil Pump's "I Love It." I think that music video is so hilarious. That's like that was meme central when that came out. I mean, them wearing those Minecraft Roblox costumes, walking down the hallway, I thought it was fantastic. Kanye's lines in the song, fantastic. And it was artsy in its very own way. So I knew you'd like that one because it dealt with Kanye. I'm sure you have some of those on your list as well, but so I had to bring that up there.
Oh yeah.
Second honorable mention I have is Lil Dicky's "Save That Money," with featuring Fetty Wap. I really like that music. The song itself, I think, is okay, right? But the music video was so fascinating because he went to mansions, he went to clubs, he got Lamborghinis all for free. He convinced all these people and was like, listen, we're shooting a music video. Can I use your mansion to shoot some shots? And people would just say yes. Hey, could I enter this club? We're shooting a music video. We're trying to do everything for free. Could we come in here? We'll give you all promotional, all promotional
Right.
at the
Yeah.
end of the video and everything like that. They said yes. He was able to rent out a Lamborghini for free for an hour to use it for his music video. He was able to get on somebody's yacht for free for the music video. So with the song being called "Save That Money," I feel like the music video correlated very well.
Yeah,
and
that's so
it was
funny.
doing it. Yeah. And the third honorable mention is a Lonely Island song. Now, I am in love with the Lonely Island,
Yeah.
and it's mainly because of their music videos. Most of their music videos are fantastic. So I had to choose the one that I thought was the funniest music video, and it ended up being "The Creep" featuring Nicki Minaj. Terrible song. It's a terrible song. Yeah, "Do the Creep." Do the Creep. It's a terrible song, but the music video is so hilarious. I loved it. The way they were dressed up, their trimmed out mustaches and everything like that. I thought it was fantastic. So those were my honorable mentions right there. You got any there, Luke?
So yeah, I have a few I wanted to go over really quickly. So Lonely Island and Weird Al Yankovic were two I mentioned here. Anything that they would do music video wise was just funny. They were on such a like front level of like comedy in the sense that they knew exactly what like to do with it, make these spoof comic music videos. Just they were just great. Back in the day, I loved watching them. They were amazing. Here It Goes Again by OK Go. So on the treadmills, that's on there with me. Take On Me, that song. And then the Never Gonna Give You Up, so by Rick Astley. So those two were on there. Take On Me is more because like back in the day, it was like generationally like amazing with how like the production was that flipping through the photo pages kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And then the Rick Astley is more what it's become like the greatest meme of all time, like in the sense that like, dude, that like revolved around our high school, middle school, all the way to modern day. It's still a relevant meme. That's when you know. Then I have Bound 2 by Kanye, which is the one where him and Kim are on the motorcycle. Yes. I think that's an amazing music video. And the Seth Rogen and James Franco is hilarious. It's a great spoof for it.
Yeah.
And then the only other honorable mention, this was one that I kind of wanted to put on my main list because one of the people on my main list, I do not like affiliating myself with him because he's a bad person, but artistically he's like a great artist kind of a thing. And he's probably hands down got one of the greatest music videos of all time, but I'll get to him in a second. I put Hurt by Johnny Cash, the music video for Hurt. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I Hurt Myself Today, that song. Yeah. I think if I'm not mistaken, that song is actually really by Nine Inch Nails, but everyone knows it off of the Johnny Cash redone. And it's kind of similar to Disturbed did Hello Darkness, My Old Friend, that song. But that's really by, oh my God, I don't know who it's exactly by, but I'm blacking out. But it's not really by them, but it's always funny because the secondary version is what everyone recognizes it once it gets in the hands of like a better artist kind of a thing. But those are all just my honorable mentions. I'm like a music video nerd. I could probably make a whole entire list of Kanye's top 25 music videos just in general. But again, I won't do that to anybody. I won't make you guys. I'll be a little bit diverse today. I'll watching. So yeah, those are my honorable mentions. Let's get into the meat and potatoes.
Yes, sir. So we got our main five here. What we'll do, I'll say my number five, your number five, and then we'll go on like that. My number five is Tenacious D's Tribute. So the point of this song is have you seen the movie before, The Pick of Destiny?
Yeah.
So the song that they sing at the end, Battling the Devil, they're like, oh my God, this was the greatest song of existence. Like, we got to record this. And they end up not remembering how the song goes. So instead, they made a song called Tribute, which is a tribute to that song. And to me, personally, it's even better than the song that they battled against with the devil. Now, the music video for it is fantastic as well. That's why it's my number five. I love Tenacious D as a whole. I think they're great. And yeah, it's good. It's not like artistically fantastic or anything like that, but I just like it because of the song and whatnot. I'll watch that music video any day. So that is my number five for you right there.
All right. Well, my number five is Thriller by Michael Jackson. Kind of similar to what I mentioned before. Not the best human being, not really a good guy at all. Really bad person. But he's the king of pop for a reason in that sense. And again, Thriller is one of the best known music videos ever. I think to this day, Thriller was one of the first like music videos I ever saw that I was scared of as a kid. Like I watched it and I was like, this is fucking terrifying. So I think that kind of just has a lasting impact there. And I think Thriller, I think today, if I'm not mistaken, I think Thriller might still have like a music video rating that's up there. I wouldn't know what it's rated under or whatever, but if I'm not mistaken, it still has a very like strong hold on like views or listens or whatever it is, whatever it might be. But that's my number five.
Okay, gotcha. My number four is actually one that you brought up before in your honorable mentions. It's OK Goes, Here It Goes Again.
There you go.
I'll always it was one of the first music videos I thought of. That was like so iconic when we were back in middle school. Everyone loved that video. And I just thought it was so creative. First off, a lot of OK Go's music videos are very creatively done. If you've checked out a lot of their other stuff, they do a lot of very different things in making their videos. And they're very creative. They're fantastic. But as far as Here It Goes Again, it was just so basic and simple with them going on the treadmills and whatnot. And they did this whole choreographed dance and everything on them. I thought it was so good.
I think it's one cut too, isn't it?
It's uncut. Like it's all in one shot.
Yeah, one shot.
Yeah, it's all in one shot, which makes it even better in my opinion. Yeah, it's so good. They choreographed the whole thing. They could have easily got hurt on those things too.
They probably did.
So they did it. What's funny is I rewatched it again today to put some more input on it, and there's a part where one of the guys messes up, but they left it in the video, and it was probably one of those things where it's like, listen, we have attempted to do this all in one shot so many times. If there's just this one small mess up, then it's okay, whatever. Like,
yeah. They probably did all of them, and they looked at all of them and were like, this is our best one. This is what we're doing.
Yes, exactly. And they probably spent maybe a whole day trying to do that music video. So I have mad respect for them for that. So that is my number four. OK Goes, Here It Goes Again.
My number four is This Is America by Childish Gambino.
I was going to bring them up. I was going to bring it up before. Joe actually told me that I should talk about it, and I forgot to put it on my list.
Yeah, I mean, dude, it's a great video. It does a really phenomenal job of kind of painting the picture of how, some people perceive the United States or America and how it's kind of frowned upon or accepted with certain things, other things. It's really well done. I personally, Kanye, Childish Gambino, there's a couple people that really have like a stronghold on my life in the music, like where it comes to like them just being creatives. Like my thing is, I guess I might just have more exquisite taste than most of you people. But just in general, I mean, like, I trend to go to artists that are more not like, I don't need a chart grabber. Like, that's great that you can, not to discredit Drake's game. Drake knows what he's doing now. Drake knows that all he's got to do is put out music that people will listen to and replay and talk about and caption, and that's it. It doesn't need to be good. If people are just trending to it, that's all that matters.
Right.
Where, like, Childish Gambino pours his heart into it, dude. He was literally he was an actor first. Like, I remember listening to Childish Gambino in high school in Greg Guckin's basement. At Greg, shout him out. I'm going to snippet this little part, put him in there, tag him, do whatever. One of my boys, literally my brother from another mother. But, like, we lived in his basement all of their junior year, my sophomore year, all of their senior year, my junior year. Like, lived down there. Even when I got out of college, like, we lived in his basement. And then when, like, this is all we listened to. We'd watch the movies. We'd listen to Childish Gambino. Like, dude, this was, like, all our high school, like, revolved around. So when he matured into such a good artist and, like, being able to be so much more creative on projects that were movies, projects that were albums, like, and then he became more mainstream, it was really great to watch that because it was like, oh, my God. It's not just that guy we listened to in a basement, Like, I don't know if you've ever heard the Rolling in the Deep remix that he does.
No, I never heard of that.
Well, I'm gonna send it to you because it's literally one of my favorite things to this day. Still, it is spectacular. He does
a great song alone.
Dude, he does such a good Rolling in the Deep cover, and I'm just like, dude, amazing.
This Is America was a very blown up thing when it came out,
Yeah,
for many reasons. A lot of people liked it. A lot of people knew what he was talking about, how he was trying to explain how other people perceive America and everything like that. And it was also a little bit controversial too, but he still put it out there. And
a little bit.
It's still a little bit, right?
A lot of it.
A lot of it. I think it's still a talked about music video to this day. I see some people doing reactions to it on YouTube still nowadays. I'd never seen it before, but I've always just heard about it.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. I was just pulling up the thing so top of mind I can send it to you for you to listen right after this. But yeah, that's my number 4. Awesome music video. Literally in love with it. I don't have much else to say besides that, but I'll let you go now to your number 3.
One last thing I will say about This Is America is that not all of it was one shot, but a lot of it was. You know what I'm saying? Which is also, you have to give mad respect for that as well. A lot of people involved, a lot of big choreography and everything like that. It was fantastic.
I did want to bring up one other thing really quickly that you had mentioned before we were looking up. I forgot to tell you. Suicide Squad made $26 million this past weekend at box office.
Uh-huh.
It made $45 million domestically. Or internationally, sorry. Internationally. So it made more money internationally than it did domestically.
Oh, well, right. That's always the case for most movies, but I still don't think that's great.
But it's not, but I feel like it's never like that. Like, it's never, you made 25 US and then 20 million more dollars globally.
Yeah,
like,
right.
Even though, again, that's taken into account everywhere. Like, I would expect way, way closer numbers. Like, people in the United States we like literally are cult movie watchers. You know what I mean? That's where I was a little bit confused on that. But yeah, I'll let you go now. My bad. My ADD kicked in aggressively right now.
All right, so my number 3, Beastie Boys, Make Some Noise.
Have you
ever watched that music video before?
Yeah. Dude, great music video.
Yeah. It's great, and I love it because of the many celebrity cameos that are in this music video. I listed most of them down. I want to list them off real quick. The ones that I really knew, which was most of them: Seth Rogen, Elijah Wood, Danny McBride. They're the main 3 in the music video who are basically lip syncing the lyrics and everything of the Beastie Boys and everything. They're trying to act like them. Then you have Will Ferrell, Jack Black, and John C. Reilly as the older versions of the Beastie Boys. Fantastic. And then you have the other people that appeared in it, like Orlando Bloom, Will Arnett, Rashida Jones, Rainn Wilson, Amy Poehler, Kirsten Dunst, Steve Buscemi, and Maya Rudolph. I'm not too sure which one.
Rudolph.
Maya Rudolph. So many celebrity cameos in this music video, and it was just so well done, and it was hilarious. One of the funniest parts about it is Elijah Wood. You know, one of those like wimpy looking guys, whatever you want to say about him, rapping and doing all these degenerate stuff out in the streets with Seth Rogen and Danny McBride. It was fantastically done. So that's why it's my number 3.
That's a quality pick, bro.
Also,
it's
a great song alone too.
Yeah. My number 3. So my number 3 is a mix between two things. So part 1 of it is Mac Miller. Just anything Mac Miller did music video wise back when we were in high school, to me, had such a huge involvement. And like for his passing, I mean, dude, I'd seen him live before. I had watched him for years. His music was another guy that really had an influence on me. And I think the thing with Mac Miller, obviously not only being a white guy, every white kid thought like, oh my gosh, like a white guy can do it kind of a thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't even that, man. He just musically was so talented because he didn't want to just rap. He wanted to create music. He wanted to create art. And like, he was such a creative to me. And like, I watched a documentary. I'll have to find it. Some YouTube channel did a really great documentary on him. And dude, it had me in like tears because again, he made it seem like it was all possible. I don't know if that makes sense or not. But when I watch music videos, when I watch movies, when I watch this shit, I know it's out of reach. I know one day it's like your fight to get there. You'll be famous. You'll do this. Dude, when we used to watch Mac Miller on Blue Slide Park and Party on Fifth Ave and, Missed Calls, like shit, dude, he was making these videos literally on his phone. Then he finally like moved up the ranks, started making better music videos. But like when we originally started watching this man create music, it was like, dude, he made you seem like, holy shit, like this is something that's attainable for everybody. Like we can get that level of stardom. And it seemed almost real, I don't know if that's a good way to describe it or not, but like I always had a really great respect for him, and I miss that guy to death, man. Just the talent he had on musically, he was such a smart fucking. It is crazy to think like just in general, because like this is kind of how society perceives people. It's really funny to think as society we like frown, like people are frowned upon for being really smart musically, but like not the smartest people. Like if you're not a banker or you're not a whatever, you could be completely like a genius when it comes to music. I think Mac Miller could play the guitar. I think he could play like the piano. He could sing. He could do all this shit. But it's like nobody cared in that way because he wasn't a genius. Do you know what I mean? Like it's just funny to see how like people that are geniuses in certain lights. Kanye is a genius when it comes to producing music. You might not like some of his music, his more recent stuff. The man is literally untouchable when it comes to him producing because he hears things in such a way that we don't. Like, I don't know. I'm fascinated by shit like with shit by that, with stuff like that. I'm blacked out right now. But like, I'm fascinated at how people's brains work. Like how some people are good at math, some people are good at science, some people are good at like. Some people just know music. Some people listen to music and can spot this out, that out, create this, create that. So that's just my tangent on that. So my number 3 music video that I have is Stan by Eminem. Again, Eminem was another guy I was obsessed with when I was younger. Eminem is still an amazing artist to me. I'll always have like a great place in my heart for him because that man, like, I can look back so many times listening to him on the bus or driving or this or that. the guy is a creative genius when it comes to that stuff. But Stan was such a good music video, dude. When you look back at it, like just the premise of it, he was someone that touched upon it like really early. I compare like Stan to being like that obsessive compulsive, like very similar to like almost like that was something people didn't want to touch, right? Like no one wants to talk about like crazy fans or like insane people. Same thing as like when Kanye did Jesus Walks. Like literally a line in there is like people told him that you could rap about anything except for Jesus, and he went and made a song called Jesus Walks and made a music video. Like it's just like I love when guys push the boundaries, but Stan is just such a good music video, such a good song by such a good artist, and like that's all I'll say there. But that's my take on it.
I have to agree. I think I should have thought of that one because it could have possibly made it to my top 5 as well, if not my honorable mentions for sure. My number 2, I chose this music video because it's another celebrity cameo, but it's only one. He's front and center in this music video, and it's Fatboy Slim's Weapon of Choice. And the person who's dancing throughout the music video and flying at parts of it is Christopher Walken. And he has such this silly face and everything like that. And he's doing all these silly dance moves while he's on the song. He's dancing throughout a hotel throughout the whole thing. Not only is the song catchy, but he had some pretty good moves there too. Some moves I would take note from. So not much to say about that. I really love the song in general, and the music video just made it 10 times better with Christopher Walken. And that's what I got as my number 2.
So my number 2 is a combination of 2 things. I don't know if I'm frozen or not. On my side, it looks like I'm kind of frozen, so I'm gonna just let it keep rocking.
You're good.
So mine is a combination of 2 things. It Smells Like Teen Spirit from Nirvana. Nirvana is one of my favorite groups of all time, one of my favorite bands. Kurt is literally Kurt Cobain. Like I'm obsessed with the guy. I think he's a creative. He was a guy that like, he dealt with very heavy depression. He was a drug user, yes, but like, he was perfectly imperfect. His creative was just there. I tell people all the time, if you really want to get a great documentary, watch Soaked in Bleach. It'll really kind of open your eyes to the fact that like something could have happened there. But just in general, what I will compare this to, Smells Like Teen Spirit was one of those first music videos, very similar to what my number 1 was, where it was like that revolt, that, F the hierarchy, kind of like F society, like, and it's not even that, like it's screw police, screw hypocrisy, just do. It's not even that. It's just that, like, to me, I view that as like, you don't need to do a 9 to 5. You don't need to live the perfect life. You don't need to live the wife stays home and the father that, like, I don't know if that makes sense or not, but that's just how I consider it. It's like this was kind of like a, you don't have to be perfect to live a life that you want to live, kind of a thing. And, I don't know if you understand kind of how I'm trying to put it out there, because I'm just word splurging.
I'm kind of taking it as like F the system sort of deal. Like,
yeah.
It's like you're living in a matrix, get out of it sort of deal. Like you're being programmed in a sense, like do what you want to do. Don't worry about your flaws and whatnot. Just do whatever you want to do.
It's kind of like a combination of the two, because it's that is part of it. It's like F the system. But it's more like what I look back is like people, you're told as kids, like you have to get a college degree. You have to go to a college. You have to.
Right.
But then you go to college and you get your degree and you go in crazy amounts of debt and you get a job that pays decently out of college, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're stuck at that job. And then you're trying to advance. But then every time you take another step to your next job, you need more experience. Then you would try applying other places. You need more experience. But then the experience you put in at a job doesn't get you enough experience, apparently. So it's just like what we're told is like you have to do it this way. And this is kind of one of those things where it's like that was where I kind of started thinking like, no, you don't. Like just because you're doing it a different way doesn't mean it has to be. And I feel the same way about like how people view everything now, like politics, religion. It's like, I don't care. We are all different people. We are all allowed to believe different shit. That's the whole point of you being like, we would all just be fucking clones if we weren't able to think for ourselves, you know? So that's where, like, I love listening to Nirvana like that, because Nirvana to me is that group that's like, yo, stop thinking like you're like a sheep. Like, stop thinking like all it is one way, because that's not how life is. Like, life is not black and white; it's gray, and like that's just how it is. So, but yeah, the only other thing too I would say is, like, not a music video, but technically a performance, is their MTV Live. It's considered one of their best performances of all time, and I think it's the last performance before Kurt passed away, if I'm not mistaken. So I always tell people, I'm like, if you really want to hear a great performance of Post Malone, he did a couple covers during the pandemic of Kurt Cobain songs, and I give a lot of people, I tell a lot of people that I compare Kurt Cobain and Post Malone very similarly, where they're kind of outcasts. They're not your typical stage front guy. Like, Post Malone has amazing exposure, but he's not like the face of things, if you know what I mean. Like, he still is, but like, he's the rebel kind of an atmosphere. And when you hear him sing some of this stuff, you can really sit there and go like, oh shit, okay, this is crazy. This does make sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you hear it and you can definitely compare the two musically. So that's all I'll say on that.
Okay. Very nice.
One.
My number one. You said it before. This is going to be very not surprising at all. Kind of like stereotypical, if you'd say. But I put Michael Jackson's Thriller as my number one. It was very creatively done, and I'm with you there. I don't think he's that great of a person either in any circumstance. But the music video was so creatively done, it blew the minds of the world with this music video. What I liked about it the most is that I'm sure I've watched it when I was younger, but probably didn't like it that much.
Yeah.
Because I was scared. I think it's one of those things that if I was younger and I was watching it, I would be petrified of it. And it is a scary music video, as it should be. And there are a lot of twists and turns with it as well. You don't know what's real or not half the time. You know, the beginning of the music video, it starts off with the movie scene until you see Michael Jackson and his girlfriend in the movie theater watching The Werewolf.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of twists and turns with it, and one of the best parts is the end, where he looks back at the camera and his eyes turned red or green or whatever it was.
Yep.
Terrifying. What you just said me right now.
I'll tell you when we're done. But just, I had to send that because that was something top of mind that I had to get over your way. But no, I 100% agree with you. Like, that was the crazy thing about Thriller. I literally remember the first time seeing Thriller. I was in my grandmother's house in Hazlitt. And I remember coming down the stairs. She had a spiral staircase that was literally, dude, like this big. And it was fucking metal stairs. And I remember me and my cousins all coming down and watching it. And I think I like pissed my pants 4 times. Yeah, it was amazing. So, but no, dude, that's a great number. That's a really number one.
And you know, this once again, the song alone is fantastic. Choreography is great with the group dances, and you see a lot of people doing this group dance a lot still nowadays. I think it was that influential. So that's why it's my number one. I think it just had a huge impact on the world. My hair is looking nuts right now. But that's what I got to say with that. That is my number one, Thriller.
Dude, giant cloud around your head is so funny.
I know. It almost looks like an extension of my hair because it's like black on top right there, but it's really just one of the movie posters.
Dude, it's an aura. You have an entire aura around you.
Yeah, right. I'm going Super Saiyan.
Okay, so if you couldn't imagine, my number one is a Kanye West song.
Yeah, okay.
If you couldn't ever think that would happen. So I'm sending you right now part of it as well. Okay, so my number one is "Runaway" by Kanye. It's my favorite song by Kanye. It is my favorite music video by Kanye, just because of the video itself is what really is kind of just amazing. What I sent you is the film. He made an actual film around it. It's a short film. It's a 30-minute short film around the music video about the concept. And again, that's my favorite album of his. Like I can't even really put into words like why it's my favorite and why it's so amazing, but it just is. Creatively, he's just a genius for putting it together. But what I do always remember is when he performed it live in the red on the white stage, playing the key, playing the note, dude. When I hear that note, still to this day, when you hear the down, 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 boom, I lose it to this day still. Like you know, I literally, like, when I was younger and I loved Kanye as a kid, but the thing that like fully had me buy in, like, again, I used to listen to 808s, graduations, late registration. I used to listen to that chick going into Barkalow, Clifton T. Barkalow, dude. I used to watch it on my iPod Nano because I never had music. I never used LimeWire like that. I would use LimeWire for my home computer, but I would only do YouTube to MP3, and that's how I'd get all my songs. So I would watch all the music videos
Yeah.
on the way into school. And dude, I used to listen to so much Kanye, watch so many of his music videos, Gold Digger, like dude, every song off 808s, like everything. And I will never forget watching Runaway and like hearing "Let's have a toast to the douchebags, let's have a toast to the assholes, let's have a toast to the scumbags," every one of them that I know, you know, that just bought me in because I was like, you know what? This man just knows exactly what's going on. Like, and he's like, "Run away as fast as you," like, because it was literally just a perfectly well put together, like, we all know these people and we allow ourselves to surround them, like ourselves with them, and then just stay with them because we're like, you know what, it's our friend or it's a buddy's friend or it's a family member. And instead of doing anything, you just convince yourself, well, I have to, or no, it's fine. Or so instead of you being able to get out of a situation that you're not a fan of, you're just like, it's fine, it is what it is. So when he did that, I just was like, holy shit, like this man just like he gets it. And like a part of me also loved it because my parents were like, I hate this. And I was like, I love this. This is great. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like that as a kid. Your parents like teach you to like only what they like. And then you have to kind of grow. And from there, from what they liked. And then you become like a model of your parents, just a little bit adapted, like you have your tendencies. So like this for me was finally such a, oh my God, like, holy shit, like I get what this man's saying. And like even to this day, like I will put on Runaway and just listen to the beginning, just let it rock, and the worst part about it is I have that vinyl. I have the My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy vinyl, and every time I listen to Runaway, that part of the song is scratched. So it is the only song on the entire vinyl that I cannot listen to.
Oh my God.
Heartbreaking, dude. Heartbreaking. And like I continue to look for it because I said I'm like, I'll just buy another one, but they're like $50, So like it's not that it's cheap, it's not that expensive, but like I'm like, I already have one. I don't really want to get rid of it. And one dude, I tell you, like, look, I'll show you this really quickly, just for you to get an idea. Like this is My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasies vinyl. Right? I don't know if you can really. Oh my God.
Yeah, I can't. All right, there we go.
It's this.
Yeah.
And then you open it up, dude. It opens up, and then it opens up again.
Oh shit.
And then it has like photos, and it has, dude. It's immaculate. It's probably my favorite thing. I think I like it more than I like my girlfriend. Yeah. I hope she can't hear me outside the door, but yeah, I definitely like it more than I like my girlfriend. 100%. Very active.
That's awesome that you collected that vinyl right there. They're back on the rise, kind of.
Dude, vinyls are crazy now again. I have a lot of Kanye's vinyls. I'm on the hunt for all of his vinyls. some of them will just run you stupid money, man. And like, again, you have to kind of prioritize when you're living in an apartment. I'm like, I love them, but like, I don't listen to vinyls that often. So like every month or so, once a month, I'll kind of go shopping aggressively for them, and I'll look and I'll see if the prices are good. And if they're good, I'll just snag one, just to say like, fuck it. Yeah. But yeah, man, I cherish that thing. And that's why that's my number one. But damn, dude, that was a good one. It's a good app.
Yeah, absolutely. We should do more music episodes, like as far as like top 5 artists for certain genres and whatnot in the future, because I'd love to talk more music. This was a little different for us this episode as well.
I'm 100% in, dude. I love that idea.
Hell yeah, man. But all right, that'll do it for us for the most part.
I just thought of something amazing offline. I got to tell you something. Oh my God.
Okay. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like, subscribe, and share. Also, follow us on Instagram at Podcast with Frank. I'll be posting clips of this podcast among other projects there for you to check out. We're also on Facebook and Twitter at Frank Videos. And that'll do it for us. So with that being said, have a good night and peace out.
What I want to know from both of you is, what is your personal definition of wealth?
This moment right here is wealth for me.
Okay.
This moment right here, I was able to, tell my wife, like, yo, I'm driving to Jersey to hop on my boy's podcast where we haven't made an appearance yet. We're sending this thing off, and wealth is being able to chase your ambitions. Being able to identify, this is what I want to do.
When we first started, for me, I was like, the definition of wealth was all financial. As I've been doing these episodes and going through the process and stuff like that, so for me, that's what it is being in an internal state of like, knowing who I am, knowing what I am, knowing what I'm going to do with my life, and sharing that purpose and that value with the world. Because when you do that, everything else follows.